Welcome to Hippie TV News and Stuff for the week of July 15th. Brought to you by WorldwideHippies.com, Citizen Journalists Exchange, part of the Common Projects Network. I am Winston Smith. Here's the headline. 1984, not an instruction manual. Off with their heads. Welcome back, Jim Crow. Summer Larsen, Bullying 101. Instant Karma Files, The Meme Bandits Here. The Trishasphere, Somewhere Between Art and Activism. Fukushima Radiation Update. Don't Eat the Fish Tacos. Asshole of the Week, and much, much more. Top story. 1984, not an instruction manual. Major U.S. cities joined anti-NSA protests last week. Huge crowds rallied across the United States and abroad against the NSA's massive global surveillance program, despite the corporate media brownout.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
A media brownout is when mainstream corporate media intentionally underreport, manipulate, skew, homogenize, and distort a news event to misrepresent the true facts and importance of the fucking event.
Now, back to our show.
This from RT News.
In New York City and throughout the country to take part in the Restore the Fourth rally. This is a campaign that launched last month in the aftermath of Edward Snowden's revelations about America's covert spying program, a program that has shocked those living in the United States and those living around the world. The purpose of this rally, organizers say, is to spread awareness and spur political action against unconstitutional spying by the U.S. government. Press freedom advocates that we spoke with say that these protests are crucial because mainstream media is not adequately covering the NSA leaks and their importance to everyday citizens.
Off with their heads. Why does the United States government need 30,000 guillotines? A June 19, 2013 article claiming the United States government recently purchased 30,000 guillotines. Yes, exactly 30,000. And that Congress passed a law authorizing their use for governmental purposes has prompted a feeding frenzy on the internet. Facebook alone had over 1,100 posts of the article. And let me say this.
Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining.
So why does the U.S. government need 30,000 guillotines? It doesn't. Once again, I, Winston Smith, spent days vetting this story. There's not a shred of evidence to support any of these allegations. The first clue of their fictitiousness is the fact that the author whom they're attributed, retired FBI agent Ted Gunderson, died 2 years before the article was even published. I found postings dating back to the late 1990s claiming that the federal government imported 100,000 guillotines during George Bush's administration. So let's get real here. There's no evidence that the United States government purchased guillotines other than the paper-cutting variety in any amount ever. U.S. Congress passing laws authorizing the use of guillotines in this country never happened. What we do have a record of, and an ample record to be sure, is that our leaders are fucking corrupt, corporate-owned, thieves, liars, perverts, warmongers, murderers, manipulators, sociopaths, psychopaths, idiots, dangerous, and generally just not nice people. They are the ones fearing the guillotine, as they should. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place.
Welcome back, Jim Crow. With a helping hand from the Supreme Court, the GOP can cling to power, disfranchising voters. The Rogers Court decision by 5-4 vote to dismantle the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is a gift to both the billionaire political lobbyists who gave us the Tea Party Congress and the noisy charlatans who push for cynical anti-voter fraud legislation that's created to suppress voter turnout. Same 5 Republican justices gave us the court's 2010 Citizen United ruling that opened the door to cash and carry elections, no questions asked, no disclosure required. Now, in addition to unlimited secret campaign cash, thanks to Shelby County versus Holder, Republican legislatures in the Jim Crow South are free to gerrymander African American and Latino communities into electoral oblivion and enact whatever voter suppression legislation they choose. Within hours of their ruling, Texas Attorney General corrupt Greg Abbott announced that his state, Texas, their stringent 2011 voter ID law that was shot down, well, it will now go into effect immediately. Now in left-wing political progressive news last week,
there was a crooked man and he was
And this, Idaho teacher Summer Larsen keeps her job after letting kids draw on the faces of underperforming students.
Fourth graders in Summer Larsen's class at Declo Elementary School needed to meet a reading goal of 10 points. If those students didn't meet those points, parents tell us their kids were punished by fellow classmates.
Not only was my son punished with bullying, but the other students were rewarded with bullying. They are being taught that bullying is okay and that there's nothing wrong with this.
Miss Larsen has 21 students in her 4th grade class, and 9 of those students didn't meet their accelerated reading scores. The students who didn't meet the scores had 2 options: either get their face drawn on by other students or miss recess.
Summer Larsen thinks that bullying is just okay for her class. Casa County School Board agrees. School Board member Steve Lloyd told the Times News that Larsen, her contract was renewed based on her own teacher's evaluation. The evaluation recommended rehiring Larsen or suffer a wedgie. Well, last week we debuted our news segment on Hippie TV News and Stuff called The Penis Report. While I received no emails praising the segment, I did get quite a few negative emails, like this one from stokedandstroked@yahoo.com. Winston and I used to love Hippie TV News and Stuff, but after seeing the dancing penis last week, it's hard to take you seriously anymore. If I want to see pricks, all I have to do is watch Fox News. And then there was this one from androgynoussandy@gmail.com. That can't be a real hippie penis, it's too clean. Well, there were more, but you people get the idea. So, because a swelling number of viewers have let loose on me over the penis report so as not to further engorge or stimulate controversy, and in the interest of mutual satisfaction, to bring the whole issue to a climax, I, Winston Smith, have come to the conclusion that it's time for the penis report. Does exercise affect penis size? Some men are convinced that exercise reduces the size of their penis, while others are just as convinced that exercise does the opposite. The structure and non-structure of the penis are unique. Similarly, its response to physical exercise differs somewhat when compared to the skeletal muscles of our arms, our legs, or our abdomen. The penis is primarily made up of connective and erectile tissue, blood vessels, and nerve tissue. These inner structures are surrounded by a robust sheet of elastic connective tissues. The penis has tubes of spongy tissues and tight mesh structure network filled with blood vessels with very elastic walls. The muscles of the penis are in the walls of the blood vessels. They regulate blood flow and thus penis size. In other words, exercise by itself does not make the penis larger or smaller. Men have relatively permanent maximum erect and minimum non-erect penis size that does not change easily in the short run. However, as you ladies and special others know, the penis size will vary temporarily from time to time based on the threshold of stimulation. And this from Third Base Politics. Man cuts off his penis, says George Bush made him do it. This is Bush derangement syndrome taken to a new and frightening level. From the Lorain Morning Journal. A man claiming he was a drifter hacked off his own penis because, according to him, George Bush made him do it. Police were called to 21st and Access Street about 1 p.m. last Tuesday after a train conductor said a man was masturbating by the train. When the police arrived, a 30-year-old man from Pennsylvania led them on a short foot chase through the train cars until he finally surrendered. And a medic asked him what happened. He said he cut off his penis with a hacksaw because George Bush told him to do it. Anyway, here promoting the general welfare is the Mean Bandit.
Hi-ho, Synecdoche, the Mean Bandit rides again. When I first saw this meme on Fuckerberg's Folly the other morning, I replied immediately to the person posting it. I said, "This is the sheerest bullshit. I'm marking it spam and bouncing it from my wall as soon as I post this comment." The poster, who is a decent person and has since taken the offending meme down, asked why I was objecting to it. Because I said, this kind of thing is a vile and vicious calumny against the poor, and it has no other purpose. It is an element in, an example of, and part and parcel with the grasping oligarchs and patriarchs' unrelenting attacks on the social infrastructure and safety net, and their fierce, and if I may say so, petulant unremitting animosity for the so-called undeserving poor. Nobody, I said, or almost nobody, wants to be poor on welfare and needing food stamps. Nope, 90% of the people, 95% probably, of people on public assistance would rather get off it if they could also at the same time sustain themselves with any shred of dignity. Some jerkwater GOP moron the other week proposed that people, and I think he was especially targeting single mothers, should be denied assistance if they have a fucking car in the United States. I asked, do you actually think perhaps that people on public assistance should all be piss tested too? If not all, then whom? And nobody, I said, nobody who accidentally happens to be better off than a poorer person is entitled to tell that person how to live and what to enjoy. Just because someone's poor doesn't mean they're disentitled to any enjoyment in life. Cigarettes and beer, for example, hell, that's poor folks' Prozac. Everybody knows that. Cable TV's about the only kind of child care a lot of poor families can afford. Virtually all the drugs swilled by us complacent members of the middle and working classes are publicly subsidized at one stage or another. Drugs are, after all, antidotes to pain. Nobody gets to tell you what hurts and what helps. So you want to deny that right, no matter how painful it is to another person, just because it happens to be their turn inside the barrel this month? That's an astonishingly arrogant, I must say mind-fuckingly arrogant attitude for folks, the majority of whom are only a paycheck or two themselves away from stark staring destitution right now, at this very moment. Oh, the barrel. Yeah, it's an old joke. Ask a geezer to explain it to you. Maybe Winston back there in Hippie Central can do that for you, hippies. Pause.
Thanks, Doc. The barrel? You kids want to learn about the barrel? Okay, everyone, gather around. That's it. Sit down. Be real quiet. Winston's going to tell you a story about the barrel. Would you like that? Well, once upon a time, a sailor on a ship had been out to sea for weeks. He was beginning to go through sex withdrawals. Fed up with the lack of sex, he asked one of his shipmates,
"Since there are no women on the ship and we're going to be at sail for months at a time, what do we do if we, if we get the urge?"
"Well, there's a barrel with a hole in it near the mop storage," said the salty shipmate. "When it gets to be too much for us, we use the hole to stick our peepees in, and then we get some relief." So the sailor went over to the barrel, stuck in his peepee, and gave it a go. Finding that it was better than he had expected, he began using it regularly, almost daily, and his "I can't find any pussy" problem seemed to vanish. Do you know what happened next, kids?
No.
After a couple of weeks, his commanding officer began to take notice of the sailor and said, "You seem to be a lot more relaxed lately, sailor. What is your secret?" The sailor, embarrassed to give a straight answer, simply said that he'd been getting much better rest. "Well, good, sailor, you're going to need your rest," replied the officer. "Today it's your turn in the barrel." So, kids, when somebody says to you that it's your turn to get in the barrel, they're telling you that it's your time to get fucked. The end. Now, between the north and southwest hemisphere, and a chasm that separates the left from the right brain, where synergy and synchronicity resist the centrifuge of the vain and benign, is the Trishasphere.
I am Tricia, and I look for ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I focus on the intersection of art and activism because that is a place where creative self-expression and conscious communication can cause a shift in perspective. Welcome to the Trishasphere. Hi, Winston. And this is the Trishasphere. I'm Tricia, and last week I was in the Gay Pride Parade, walking with a motorcycle group, a women's motorcycle group known as the Sirens. It's really fun because you get to go to every corner along the parade route and say, "Hello, New York," and everybody cheers and woohoo! It's really fun. People are excited about the parade. And my favorite part, besides Harry Belafonte, my favorite part is the moment of silence down by Stonewall because Stonewall is where the gay rights movement in America began, essentially in 1969. And it's really cool to be near that site when we recognize everyone who has fallen. Most recently, people are still getting killed for being gay, which is bullshit. And more bullshit is the Ancient Order of Hibernians that run the St. Patrick's Day parade, still here in New York, still will not let queer groups in their parade. And that's wrong. And if it's good enough for the Empire State Building to be rainbow, then it should be good enough for the fucking Hibernians. So anyway, if they want everybody to be Irish on March the 17th, it is time for, on the last day of June, we can all be queer. That's it from the Tricia Sphere. Have a good week, Winston.
You gotta get up higher. Or lower. And that's it.
Thanks, Trish. Welcome back, sister. The Tricia Sphere will be a regular feature here on Hippie TV News and Stuff because we got her drunk and she signed a contract. Wish me luck. I'm having cocktails with Hippie Woman later this month, so stay tuned. You know, people always ask me, Winston, can a person really ever be in control of their destiny? Or do the laws of nature always find a way to cull stupid from the herd? Well, I always tell them, judge for yourself by watching this week's Instant Karma Files.
Instant Karma's gonna get you. Gonna knock you right on the head. You better get yourself together. Pretty soon you're gonna be dead. What in the world are you thinking now?
Company sells pork-laced bullets to fight Islamic terrorists. Does Israel know about this? Dateline, Dalton, Idaho. An Idaho ammunition manufacturer has developed a new line of pork-laced bullets they hope will fight against Islamic terrorists and keep them from going to heaven. South Fork Industries of Dalton Gardens, Idaho, took traditional bullets and coated them in pork-infused paint to make them haram, or unclean under Islamic law. The company's website labels the Ajwang ammo bullets as peace through pork and peaceful and natural return to radical Islam. The military-industrial complex never ceases to amaze me.
Oh, son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
Update. Fukushima radiation shocking over the Americas from Chile to Oregon. As reported in Rents.com, it seems that Fukushima radiation is still permeating the atmosphere over Americas from Chile to Oregon. It's reaching shocking numbers, higher than anyone had ever been informed of. Just to give you an idea, a CPM count per minute reading of 100, apparently a mandatory hazmat quarantine emergency in the state of California. Readings as of July 1st were off the charts, ranging from 336 PCMs to 1200 CPMs. The U.S. EPA is fully aware of the situation, but intends to do nothing about informing the public. These radiation readings are shocking. They're off the charts. Why is the public not being informed of such levels and being asked to take precautionary measures? We cannot be sure. This information is not meant to freak anyone out, only to pass along information for which conscious, wise action can be taken. But honestly, folks, there is no precautionary measures that you can take, so... Also last week, fire broke out at Fukushima nuclear power plant. Workers at the now defunct Fukushima nuclear power plant witnessed a fire amongst a heap of radioactive rubbish near an incinerator. According to reports, the fire caused no damage or rise in radiation levels at the tsunami-hit facility. In other news, after tens of thousands of dead fish appeared in a reservoir in Mexico, a local mayor is pointing his fingers at a corporate-owned cattle food plant. The fish were reportedly asphyxiated after a cattle plant poured hundreds of liters of byproduct into the canal that feeds the Geraldo Reservoir. The cattle food plant, which reportedly operated without a permit, creates the viscous brown substance as a byproduct while refining sugarcane and beets for cows to eat, according to the report. U.S. Postal Service logging all mail. For law enforcement, the New York Times reported that the Mail Control Tracking System program, which Postal Service computers photograph the exterior of every piece of paper and mail that was processed in the United States, was mistakenly exposed last week. Two programs show that the postal mail is subject to the same unlawful monitoring and recording that the National Security Agency has given to telephone calls and your emails. When the city of San Lorenzo, California purchased a license plate reader for its police department, computer security consultant Michael Katz-Lacob asked the city for a record of every time the scanners had photographed his car. While the results shocked him, the paper-sized device installed on the outside of police cars can log thousands of plates in an 8-hour patrol shift. Katz-Lacob said it had photographed his two cars on 112 occasions, including one image from 2009 that shows him and his daughters stepping out of their Toyota Prius in their own driveway. That photograph, Katz-Lacob said, made him frightened and concerned about the magnitude of police surveillance and data collection. The single patrol car in San Lorenzo, equipped with a plate reader, had logged his car once a week on average, photographing his license plate and documenting the time and location that he was at. At a rapid pace and mostly hidden from the public, police agencies throughout California have been collecting millions of records on drivers and feeding them to intelligent fusion centers operated by local, state, and federal law enforcement. With heightened concern over secret intelligence operations at the National Security Agency, the localized effort to track drivers highlights the extent to which the government has committed to collecting large amounts of data on people who have done absolutely nothing wrong. State Department spent how much on its Facebook page? A report by the Office of the Inspector General of the Bureau of International Information Programs discovered that the U.S. State Department spent $630,000 to buy likes on its page. This is a move that Facebook discourages and even punishes most users like you and me for. When I, Winston Smith, tried to contact Facebook for an explanation of the double standard, well, Facebook responded by suspending me from posting to pages for 2 weeks, apparently asking Facebook users what they thought of FBI and U.S. State Department special arrangements. Well, that's considered spam. I shit you not. Oh, I hear it's time for the essay of the week, and this week it goes to the 3 totally corrupt, dog-murdering, criminal, low-life, bottom-feeding police officers in Hawthorne, California, for gunning down a dog in front of its owner. 2-year-old Max, a Rottweiler, is shot 4 times, stumbling and convulsing as he dies on the street. Did the dog have to die? The police department says that the shooting was justified. Watch.
Okay, we gotta get the other guy down. Look at that good. This dude. Like, is this recording? Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Oh, he lives there. Okay. Put the dog on. Like, he's recording up there. Look, they're looking at him.
He's giving a bravo. I'd hate to be an officer right now.
No, they're talking.
Why ain't there no black cops?
You? Oh, he's gonna get him. He's gonna get him.
Oh shit, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming.
Throw his ass in the car. He got the dog there. Watch out, he's gonna fight that.
You heard what he said? He said, why is there no black cops?
Hey, you better, if you're the shooter, you better aim right because I want to get shot.
They got chased. Imagine they get chased. Like, they go get him. You better not get in your car. You better not get in your car. You better not get in your car. You better run in your car. He's gonna chase him. Oh, shit, he's coming up.
Oh, he's gonna knuckle up.
He's gonna throw him down the sled. Yeah, what is he doing? He's going to the ground. He's gonna throw that to the ground. Oh, he took his stuff like that. He didn't even care. I like the dog. The dog wants to go home. Imagine the dog comes out. Like the dog is walking. I'll let the dog out. I'll let the dog out.
Oh shit, the dog.
Yeah, the dog. Look, he's trying to jump out too. Look.
Let it jump out.
Oh shit. Hey, watch it. Watch it, watch it. Yeah, that dog. Yeah, that dog is smart.
Get back, get back. He's gonna miss. Shot.
Shot the dog. Man, he was a ghost.
Justified? Really? Keep in mind that Mr. Roseby committed no crime in recording the 3 totally corrupt, dog-murdering, criminal, low-life, bottom-feeding police officers in Hawthorne, California. Officers in the first place. The 3 totally corrupt, dog-murdering, criminal, low-life, bottom-feeding police officers in Hawthorne, California were visibly guilty of violating Mr. Roseby's rights to videotape them as they chose to intimidate and harass Mr. Roseby. The 3 totally corrupt, dog-murdering, criminal, low-life, bottom-feeding police officers of Hawthorne, California were also in clear violation of their own department's prime objective, which states officers must always first attempt to defuse a situation before using force. And let's not overlook the little shit officer who missed 3 times before hitting the dog. 3 bullets that went where? The Tricia Sphere? Many canine units admittedly allow their dogs to actually bite suspects as a reward. Cities across America have paid out millions of dollars to settle lawsuits resulting from such abuse of power. But the practice is still used and actually allowed by most police departments. So suppose a police dog went after an innocent person and that citizen defended themselves by shooting the dog. Would the courts and the shit NewYorkDailyNews.com say it was justified then? No way. And that is why the 3 totally corrupt, dog-murdering, criminal, low-life, bottom-feeding police officers of Hawthorne, California are hippie TV news and stuff's assholes of the week. That's it for this week. Share the news on your Facebook pages and email to your cool friends. I'd like to thank the Doc and Sister Trish for showing up this week. And tune in next week for the Doc, Sister Trish, more surprises, and me, Winston Smith, right here on Hippie TV News and Stuff.